Hello, I'm going to share with you how to read yourself, because being able to read yourself is a valuable tool to have in your possession, especially when you feel down or that things are not working out, or you're a little confused, or you feel stuck. Because feeling stuck is an invitation to do something different, and I'm going to give you something different. Now, scientists tell us we're only using 5 to 10% of our brain. So consciousness is 5 to 10% of our brain. So what's happening with the other 90 to 95% of our brain is the subconscious mind that regulates our body for us, tells us when to breathe, when our heart to beat, which fortunately we don't have to think about. And then on a deeper level is the unconscious mind, and that is where we access this information. Carl Jung said the unconscious has absolute knowledge. He didn't just pull that out of thin air. He didn't say that to gain followers. He said it because it's true. Now, your conscious mind might be wanting to check out and click out of this just on that statement alone. Like, what you talking about, Willis? But it's true, and I'm going to show you that. Marie-Louise von Franz, who worked most of her life with Carl Jung, she said the unconscious knows things. It knows the past and the future. The unconscious knows things about people. So imagine that right now you're faced with a problem. It doesn't look good from a conscious perspective. It looks like it's all going bad. It's not going to turn out. But yet your unconscious knows the future and wants to give you the feeling like, yeah, it may not look good, but I feel like somehow it is going to work out. That's you accessing that information in just that little way. But we tend to second guess that, because the thing with the unconscious, it's not predicting the future, it knows the future. And here's an example of this. In 2015, I was married. I'd been in a marriage for like 2 years. And one morning, I woke up from a dream that my husband had died. And I'm telling myself in the dream, in my own voice, I say, this is what it feels like to lose your husband. And I am devastated, crying. It's as if it's real. And I'm relieved to wake up and he's still alive. But it shook me to my core. 2 days later, a neighbor 2 houses down from me, her husband died unexpectedly in a tragic, horrible way. And I was devastated. That same pain came up for me. And I thought, I wonder if that dream was about this imminent happening just 2 doors down. Well, no. Almost 9 years later, it was as if my husband died. He didn't actually physically die, but he was dead to me. The man I thought I married had died. It was death. It was dead. So how did my unconscious mind predict that my husband would be dead, that I would feel what it was like to lose my husband? I think that there was, when this imminent tragedy happened of my neighbor, that strong emotional resonance of losing your husband opened a portal that the same thing was going to be happening to me, and showed it to me. Because the conscious mind operates on linear time, cyclical time, clocks and calendars. The unconscious mind is in eternal time. And these things are hard for consciousness to grasp. Yet we have these experiences, so we know that there is something to them. So in order to access this absolute knowledge, knowing the past, knowing the future, knowing who people really are, we have to blot out, dial down our consciousness. And one way to do that is we can do what shamans and seers throughout time have done, that have looked into the water bowl for information, or read tea leaves, thrown bones on a table, or some shamans read cracks in the earth, in the mud, to get answers. By doing that, they are blotting out their consciousness, because when consciousness sees chaos, if I presented to you now just some kind of chaotic pattern, your conscious mind will check out, because it's nonsensical. It can't make sense of it. So your conscious mind checks out, and then your unconscious mind comes forward with information. This happens every night in our dream state. The conscious mind checks out, it goes to sleep, and the unconscious mind comes forward with information and with guidance, with revealing objective truths. That's why dreams are so important. That's why my channel is called Shadow Treasure. There is treasure in the shadow, and I aim to harvest it because it's cool and it's interesting. So one way you can read yourself and access information is to blot out your consciousness, and you can create yourself some kind of chaotic pattern, some kind of wild doodle, whatever it is, and you look at it, your conscious mind will check out, and what's coming forward, just let it flow. What's the story being told? What are the feelings? Where is it leading you? Where is it taking you? Because you might be in a situation, and I know I've had this happen to me many times, where it looks bleak. And actually it's going to turn out fine, and you've had the feeling all along it was going to turn out fine, but you second guessed it. Now, you might not know this, but for 20 years I've been a professional energy reader, primarily with relationship dynamics. And one thing I've seen repeatedly in a reading, and it's really cool to see, is what I call the red light, green light phenomena, where a person is experiencing the red light, like this isn't going to work out, the signs are no, people aren't encouraging, all red light stuff, and then boop, the red light turns green, and everything then shifts toward the green light, and that's another cool experience. But if we're just operating in consciousness, there's so much that we are not seeing. So how do you access this today? You can either find a chaotic pattern online, create your own chaotic pattern, and see what flows through. Another huge way that's a lot easier is to record your dreams and analyze your dreams. If you need help with that, you can contact me or book a session with me. I've done dream work for years because there's so much fruit there. And then another way to open this up is acknowledge that consciousness sees very little of anything, really. I mean, your consciousness is confronted with so much data in a day, you're missing who's walking beside you a lot of the time. And so try this and see what comes through. If you would like an unconscious power session to have help with this, for me to read a little bit for you and then get into the deeper unconscious work, feel free to reach out. Or there's links on my YouTube page. And I invite you to share your experiences with reading yourself. In the meantime, sweet dreams.